from Texas. They call me Poppy, and I was president from 1989 to 1992.
And welcome to the YOLO News Network. I am Andrew Cooperstown, and this is
Agnes III.
And we have many interesting stories to tell you today.
Yay.
Starting off, Exxon Valdez supertanker has spilled over 11 million gallons of oil off the Alaskan coastline. The tragedy was due to the carelessness of the captain in maneuvering the vessel. Over 1,300 miles of shoreline was affected, and techniques like hot water soaking and chemical agents were used to clean it. Sources say over 200,000 birds and 100,000 sea animals died in this horrific tragedy.
The Council of Competitiveness is formed under the Bush administration. The purpose of this council was to act and negotiate on behalf of the President for common relief with the leaders of major federal agencies. The council came to an agreement with the Environmental Protection Agency to allow the redefinition of wetlands and the allowance of untreated toxic waste dumping in landfills. This decision has brought a lot of attention to the policies passed under the Bush administration.
Stop!
1989, the court made a surprising ruling in a landmark case by allowing the desecration of the American flag as his protected speech under the First Amendment. The defendant, George Lee Johnson, led a flag-burning ceremony in 1984 at a convention that supported communism and denounced the Reagan administration.
Red, white,
blue, red, white, and blue.
we spit on you.
We spit on you. Wonder, you stand for
Under. It will go under.
you will go under.
Burn the flag.
Burn it!
There we go. Okay. All right.
Yeah! Woo! Watch it burn, yeah! Johnson was arrested due to the people being highly offended at the burning and his anti-U.S. threats.
Nobody likes communists.
Yeah, they suck.
On January 20th, 1989, President Bush appointed William Rayleigh as the head of the Environmental Protection Agency. About Bush's selection is that William Rayleigh is the first environmentalist to be appointed as the head of the Environmental Protection Agency. Rayleigh is noted for serving as the World Wildlife Fund and as the founder and advisor of several business ventures. Rayleigh formally left the Environmental Protection Agency in 1992.
Very interesting.
He has green hair. It's awesome.
On October 17th, President George H.W. Bush announced his $7.86 billion plan to launch a major offensive against drugs. Here is a clip showing it. To end the drug trafficking between Mexico and U.S. insurgents by bolstering border security and increasing surveillances on packages crossing the border.
In 1992, President Bush met the angry eyes of environmentalists and Earth lovers at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. President Bush refused to sign a biodiversity treaty for limiting of global carbon dioxide emissions. This decision hurt the treaty itself due to the lack of American force in anything dealing with global problems and resolutions. World leaders see no other option but to carry the treaty out themselves, lacking the important help from America. People from other nations, we need to sign this biodiversity treaty that will limit the carbon dioxide emissions into the air. This treaty right here.
But the oil in the air in the heaven.
No, it's not.
But it's not as good.
I
No,
agree.
it's not good.
But it's good for the
I agree with him.
environment.
No.
No, it's not.
Everybody
good.
calm down.
No.
No.
Fortune cookie. What is this? Fortune
Yeah, I want your fortune cookie.
Oh, yeah. No.
But
Met the oil in there.
but Bush
The oil
made
in there.
America.
But it's not. This is an outrage. This is an outrage. This is an outrage. I cannot sign this treaty because it is not an outrage. And Iraq, you see, Iraq, we are oil, we are OPEC. No, we will not sign your treaty.
But I gave you fortune cookies.
I'm sorry.
And the last piece of domestic news, at 5:04 p.m. on October 17th, 1989, a 6.9 magnitude earthquake struck the heart of San Francisco. The quake crumbled many homes and historic buildings, ruined the city's marinas, and left over 200 people dead. The quake lasted 15 seconds and even affected warm-ups during the 1989 World Series games between the Athletics and the Giants.
Okay, you put money. Okay, now let's actually order something.
Okay.
Just order.
Debate on October 1992, between Bush and Clinton, President Bush took a much stronger stance on environmental protection. As a lifelong hunter, fisherman, and outdoorsman, Bush knew the importance of protecting America's natural resources. The important issue of fuel efficiency standards. According to Bush, one of Clinton's mistakes is that fuel efficiency standards of 40 to 45 miles a gallon will in fact throw out workers. This calls for attention to the increasing number of unemployment in the United States. At the same time, it also is appealing to middle-class workers with the power to vote.
Can breathe a sigh of relief today as the Iron Curtain has finally descended from Europe. In November, Russian leader Mikhail Gorbachev relaxed tensions in Europe by allowing East Germans to freely cross to West Germany.
Down with the communists.
Are we supposed to be done? Mein Kampf! Hitler! We did it! But like a ding dong, everything ahead!
West Germany, here we come!
Ching chong chong! Mein Kampf! Germany!
Democracy! Yay!
This pivotal announcement marked the reunification of Germany and the destruction of the Berlin Wall. East Germans ecstatically tore fragments of the wall off, creating several unofficial border crossings. But the reunification was met with opposition from French and British officials, who believed a newly strengthened Germany might rebuild its military to reap vengeance upon their souls. Their pleas to reinforce the borders were met with no action, as Gorbachev clearly intended for a more peaceful, unified continent.
On August 2nd, 1990, Iraqi troops invaded the nation of Kuwait after claiming the nation had been taking oil from the, I'm going to give this my best try, Rumaila oil field on the Iraq-Kuwait border. The immediate withdrawal of the troops. However, the Iraqi government has refused to follow the orders. On August 6th, the UN imposed an embargo on Iraq. Dictator Hussein still refused to remove the Iraqi troops and announced the annexation of Kuwait as an Iraqi province. American troops landed on Saudi Arabia after the nation asked for U.S. involvement in the war on August 7th. Later that year, Britain and France deployed 10,000 troops to join the war. On January 12, 1991, Congress granted President Bush the authority to wage war. 3 days later, the Operation Desert Storm, boom, 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 boom. The 24-hour
Ultimatum.
There we go. For Iraq to remove its troops from Kuwait. On February 26, Hussein announced Iraq's withdrawal from Kuwait. Iraqi troops fled from Kuwait City, something now known as the Highway of Death. Coalition forces entered Kuwait City. President Bush declared Kuwait liberated on February 27, months after the invasion.
As many of you have heard of the influential and active man, Ross Perot. Known for running against President George Bush in the 1988 presidential election. Perot earned the money and support for his campaign from his extensive career, such as being the owner of the multi-billion-dollar company EDS, which he sold to General Motors. He also was a philanthropist and worked in the CIA and Reagan's Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board. These events helped him to lead a strong campaign against Bush, who he despised due to his avoidance of finding U.S. POWs in Vietnam and not being a native-born Texan. He formed the Reform Party, a third-party political party, but biased media and only moderate support costing him a loss. But he contributed to snatching a strong percentage of votes away from President Bush. On September 22, 1987, the Emperor of Japan underwent surgery on his pancreas after having digestive problems for several months. The doctors discovered that he had duodenal cancer.
Duodenal.
The Emperor appeared to be making a full recovery for several months after the surgery, but about a year later, however, on September 19, 1989, he collapsed in his palace, and his death and his health worsened over the next several months as he suffered from continuous internal bleeding. On January 7, 1989, at 7:55 a.m., the Grand Steward of Japan's Imperial Household Agency officially announced the death of Emperor Hirohito and revealed the details about his cancer for the first time. The emperor's death ended the Showa era.
In Japan.
Today, Emperor Hirohito's state funeral was held, and unlike that of his predecessor, it was formal but not conducted in a strictly Shinto manner. A large number of world leaders attended the funeral, including French President Franco Mitterrand, the Duke of Edinburgh, and specifically our own President, George H.W. Bush.
Was held in July 1991, where the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, START 1, was signed by Bush and Gorbachev in Moscow, Russia. The treaty had taken us 9 years in the making, and the first major arms agreement since the signing of the Intermediate Ranged Nuclear Forces Treaty by Reagan and Gorbachev about a year ago in '87. The contentions in START would reduce the U.S. and USSR's strategic nuclear weapons by about 35% over 7 years, because we don't want to blow up the planet.
Exactly. You're very right. You're just very smart.
I know. And the Soviet Union's land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles would be cut by 50%.
Wow.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it is.
We were lucky enough to get Bush's reason for this meeting. Bush says, and I quote, "I think it is a significant step forward in dispelling half a century of mistrust during the Cold War."
Bush's administration, along with the progressive conservative Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, have recently spearheaded the negotiation of the North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement,
NAFTA.
which eliminates the majority of tariffs on products traded among the United States, Canada, and Mexico to encourage trades amongst the countries.
Yeah.
The treaty also restricts patents, copyrights, and trademarks and outlines the removal of investment restrictions among the three countries. The agreement came under heavy scrutiny amongst mainly Democrats, who charged that NAFTA resulted in a loss of U.S. jobs. Generate economic resources necessary to enable Mexico's government to overcome problems of funding and enforcement of its labor laws. After all, Bush needed a renewal of negotiating authority to move forward with the NAFTA trade talks. Such authority would enable him to negotiate a trade accord that would be submitted to Congress for a vote, thereby avoiding a situation in which he would be required to negotiate with trading partners those parts of an agreement that Congress wished to change. Very insightful.
Tiananmen Square. This is breaking news. Total turmoil broke out in China when approximately 3,000 students stormed in protest in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, demanding political reform. In the late 1970s, the Chinese leadership of Deng Xiaoping implemented economic reforms, transitioning the nation from Maoist communism into a social market economy. Market economy. Now, grievances over inflation, limited career prospects for students, and corruption of the party elite have grown. The largely student-run demonstrations are aiming for continued economic reform and liberalization. Peaceful protests have also occurred in other cities, such as Shanghai and Wuhan, while looting and rioting broke out in Xi'an and Changsha. These protests were supposed to be kept peaceful, but there was widespread international condemnation of the Chinese government's use of force against the protesters. You can see here that many students were harmed.
We are not moving.
Not moving.
I'm standing right here. Now. Democracy.
Not moving.
We want
Not moving.
democracy and McDonald's.
What are you two doing?
Democracy, McDonald's.
Oh shit. You disgrace the People's Republic of China.
McDonald's, come on.
Yeah, such a horrible.
That was
horrible.
chilling. That was
chilling.
gruesome.
Oh god. And sources have reported deaths of even small children and women as a result of the protests. We'll keep you updated on this breaking news story. Back to you.
YOLO get work.
Okay. Wait. Should we
My
read?
name's Anderson Cooperstown.
Should we read about the court cases?
Okay, in special news, in the Planned Parenthood versus Casey, in short, upheld Roe versus Wade, but did change the strict trimester schedule of Roe versus Wade. This special case imposed the undue burden rule, which means that states cannot impose restrictions on abortion that pose an undue burden to that woman. In Planned Parenthood versus Casey, the Supreme Court struck down part of the PA law that said women had to inform their husband in the case of an abortion because that was an undue burden on a woman's right to choose. It did uphold other provisions of the law, such as a 24-hour waiting period, as that didn't pose an undue burden. Undue burden has given states a lot more room to make stricter abortion laws because they no longer have to follow the strict trimester schedule. Now we have 3 special guests today that are considering an abortion, and with this new law created by the case, they have some stories they'd like to share with us. Ladies, can you come on out? Hello there. Can I get your names, ladies?
My name is Sabamaniqua, and I'm from Kentucky.
My name's Tammy and I'm from Missouri.
I'm Tiffany.
Where are you from, Tiffany?
The place, Kansas, with the ark in front of it. Arkansas.
Okay, well, all you girls are considering having an abortion. Would anyone like to share about it?
Look, I have to have my mommy 24/7 on the farm. Like, I cannot raise a child. I think a woman should have the choice to choose what she wants in her life. Stop gulping your water. You're making me nervous.
Look, I don't want no baby. My baby daddy left me from some other woman. And I just can't take care of this child right now. I need to go to work. I need to do my own life. I want to go to college because I want to be...
Is that a marriage ring?
It was
Yellow.
until my baby daddy left me from this
Yellow.
other girl, who, by the way, is pregnant now. I am not having a child. I don't want a child.
My name's Tiffany. I'm from Arkansas. And my baby daddy's name is Tyrone. I mean, Tyrone, he don't want no baby. How am I supposed to take care of a baby if Tyrone's not going to support me? I mean, I work at Buddy's drive-thru.
That's all we have
Let me
today.
just tell you something.
Please.
Tyrone is a bad man.
Tyrone's terrible.
You can do so much better.
So can you, oh my God,
Yes,
girlfriend.
girl.
All right, Lee.
Girl.
Lee.
Huh?
All right, well, that's all we have for today. Please join us tomorrow where we interview
It's off, ready?
the guy who caught Bigfoot.
This just in. President George H.W. Bush has declared that he will invade Panama. It all started back in 1983 when dictator General Manuel Noriega took control of Panama. This was all great and stuff, but he was said to have been taking place in unlawful activities such as election fraud, murder of opponents, and of course, drug trafficking.
Whoa there. Oh, yo, I can get it around. No. Okay.
Now I'm gonna go.
Freeze, U.S. Marine! Get down on the ground! Here's America! Hey, freeze! Get up. Get up now. Hands behind your back. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of the law. The court of law.
Turns out he was found guilty of drug trafficking and he was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Our President George H.W. Bush did this in an effort to guarantee the non-blockading of the Panama Canal that we are much dependent on for trade.
On January 11th, 1983, Nancy Cruzan lost control of her old car that had no seatbelts, was thrown from it, and landed face down in a water-filled ditch. Paramedics found her with no vital signs, but they resuscitated her. After a couple of weeks of remaining dormant with a coma, she was diagnosed as being in a persistent vegetative state, also known as PVS. Surgeons inserted a feeding tube for her long-term care. Her husband and patients waited for her more substantial recovery, but eventually, after 4 years, accepted that there was no hope. The accident occurred 7 years before they went to the Supreme Court. The issue of this case was whether the state of Missouri had the right to require clear and convincing evidence in order for the Cruzans to remove their daughter from life support. In a 5-4 decision, the court found in favor of the Missouri Department of Health. However, it upheld the legal standard that competent persons are able to exercise the right to refuse medical treatment under the Due Process Clause. Because there was no clear and convincing evidence of what Nancy Cruzan wanted, the court upheld the state's policy. After the case was decided, the family went back and found more proof that Nancy Cruzan would have wanted her life support terminated and eventually won a court order to have her removed from the life support. Cruzan died 11 days later on December 26, 1990. Sad, sad story.
It is. I mean, it's amazing how this happened in our own country.
Now for sports with Tammy the Tiger. Take it away, Tammy.
And now for the catch of the day with Tammy Tiger. Baseball player and Hall of Famer Pete Rose was banned from baseball for life after investigation discovered he was illegally gambling on games. Rose was the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, the team he most frequently played for, and he placed bets on, of course.
Today we're versing the Giants, and I know we're gonna win because we are the Cincinnati Reds. We can do this. So I'm gonna just put $1 down on us. You dropped it. Who else has got $1 on this game? Anyone? Anyone? You got your cell phone? All right. Anyone? Come on. Money? You got $1?
I got my bat.
A bat? All right.
It's classical, bro.
Don't tell anybody about my illegal gambling.
MLB commissioners Bart Gianotti's final decision on banning Pete was met opposition by Pete's loyal fans as he's won 3 batting titles, 3 World Series rings, Rookie of the Year, MVP, and been in 17 All-Star games. What a controversial thing to look at. Moving on, sprinter Carl Lewis has set yet another world record, this time in the 100-meter race at the World Championships in Tokyo, Japan. He finished with the impressive time of 9.86 seconds. Wow.
Smith in 4, Lewis in 5. Smith breaks out early. Lewis is right with him. Smith being beaten by Lewis. Lewis breaks away and wins the 100-meter final.
Beating the previous record holders, Burrell and Stewart. Lewis also set a record in the 4x100-meter relay. These 2 records are only a small portion of Lewis's accomplishments, as he's won 9 gold medals in the Olympics and finished first in many other international sporting events.
And for the 3rd place of the 1992 Olympic Games, Gwendol Oglethorpe. Good job, good game. For 2nd place, Juniper Harganowitz.
Thank you so much.
And for what everyone's been waiting for, 1st place, Carl Lewis. Great game. That was America. Best country. Here you go. Let me put all these on you.
America.
Good game.
Yeah. He says he hopes to equal up to Jesse Owens, and I'm sure he will. After a physical before the 1991 and 1992 NBA season, Johnson discovered that he was tested HIV positive. Conference held on November 7th of 1991, Johnson made a public announcement that he would retire immediately. However, he stated that his wife Cookie and his unborn child did not have HIV, and that he would dedicate his life to battle this deadly disease. Johnson initially said that he did not know how he contracted the disease, but later he acknowledged that it was through having multiple sexual partners during his playing career. At the time, only a small percentage of HIV-positive people had contracted it from heterosexual sex, and it was initially rumored that Johnson was either bisexual or gay. Although he denied both, Johnson later accused Isaiah Thomas of spreading the rumors, a claim that Thomas denied.
1992 Olympics. Alright. The news is in. The results of the 10,000 meter run. Unfortunately, Deratu Tulu of Ethiopia outkicked Alana Meyer
in that race.
Wow,
He
what
put up a
great
good
job.
fight. Put up
Yeah.
a good fight.
Yeah.
In total, now, the U.S. has won 42 gold medals, 34 silver, and 37 bronze overall in the Olympics.
That's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, third overall. These Olympics were held in Barcelona, Spain, and which created Spain as a gigantic tourist attraction. We were talking earlier about Carl Lewis, and he has won the long jump for the third time in the Olympics. This was his 8th gold, and he also anchored the 4x400 meter relay.
right.
And the U.S. won that too.
And now for USA, Carl Lewis for the long jump. Beautiful jump. Excellent.
We got some strong showings in track and also basketball in this Summer Olympics. Bringing home the medals, raking them in. All right, that's all we got for today's Olympics.
Here's Tammy Tiger and Shaniqua Heaney. Okay, guys, I'd like to welcome Esmeralda Piper, an expert on contemporary culture. Hey, so how about that pop culture, eh, Esmeralda? What are those kids into today?
Thanks, Harold. I'm glad to be here. Well, first of all, there was a new TV show that debuted this week, December 1989. It was created by Matt Groening and it's shown on Fox. I have a good feeling about this show, Harold. There's just something about a family of not so intelligent yellow people that really pulls you in, you know?
Well, actually, we have a clip of it here for you guys.
Are we there yet?
No.
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 Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
You little.
Homer, I think we're there.
See? It's pretty funny. It's called The Simpsons and it's all the rage for kids these days. Who's your favorite character, Harold? Mine is Homer.
Oh, mine's definitely Marge.
Are you mimicking me?
No, not at all. I'm not sure. We'll have to tune in some more.
There's another new popular industry. It's the new crop of board games for the younger generation. Some new ones are Thin Ice, Jenga, Trouble, Sorry, Connect 4, and Guess Who?
Guess who what?
Guess Who?
Oh, I get it. So, tell me a little more about these. How do you play these games? What are they all about? For example, Jenga.
Well, these games are definitely strategy oriented. Young kids how to be competitive while playing a relaxing board game. I think they're going to be the new traditional household board games. They might even catch up to Monopoly in life someday.
Now, according to statistics, which ones are basically the most popular ones as of now?
Definitely Jenga and Connect 4. Here we have some clips of some 5-year-olds playing them.
It's
Changing a little on the topic, I know you're here for this also. What's new in the music industry?
Well, Harold, we're seeing a rise in the new music called grunge, along with pop. People are beginning to dub this time period the grunge era, after the release of Nirvana's Nevermind, a new album. This album was released September 24th, 1991, and it was the first produced by the group on DGC Records.
So, how about other artists? Like, I believe you were talking about pop. Who are the popular artists right now?
Indeed, Harold. Michael Jackson, who you may remember as the Tot, with the amazing falsetto in the Jackson 5's I'll Be There.
Right.
He's rising rapidly in popularity. You know what this one is? Army.
Okay, so I understand that. Okay, Jackson has been doing really good with his records. Any new up and coming plans for Jackson that we don't know about?
Yes, Harold. He just signed a $1 billion contract with Sony Records in this year, 1991. And we hope to see more catchy tunes from the King of Pop.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming out today, Esmeralda.
Are you done?
I'm done.
I'm done too.
You done?
We're
Okay.
done, guys!
Thank you for joining us today in the YOLO Network News.
And we hope you can join us tomorrow.
Okay.
September 22nd, 1987, the Emperor underwent surgery.
America.
Merc. Okay, is all the ice cream like low fat? And then I need some low fat ice cream or gluten free at least.
Do you have any razzleberry?
My granddaughter wants some raspberry.
Grandma, I want the SpongeBob ice cream. Where's the SpongeBob ice cream?
I like drugs.
You like drugs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Prescription drugs.
Prescription drugs.
And I'll break it down.
Okay.
Shit, they're gonna be like. Is that it?
Danny Shadow.
Can you please show what that is?
I'll do this.
So people know what I'm laughing at.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Many American citizens question if they've picked the right man to run the nation.
We have a special guest.
Osama bin farting.
Please don't kill me.
Yo.
Allah! I swear to Allah!
Allah!
Okay. Inside the ice cream truck.
Moist. Oh, Maoist community.
Moist.
Yo, Pete, you're up.
Oh, bruh. Oh. What's in my bag? There's
Wait, no, he doesn't take steroids.
What?
I just remembered.
It's okay, baby. You'll die soon.
All right, well.
I want you so desperately.
Now toss
Time out.
I didn't even toss it yet.